I want you to do something right now. Notice how you are sitting. Is your head directly over your shoulders? Are your ears aligned with your shoulders, chin parallel to the floor? Or is your head slightly or significantly forward of your shoulders? Chin jutting slightly out, neck curved forward, the back of your neck slightly compressed. If you're watching this on a phone or a computer, your head is probably forward, possibly significantly forward. Now here is what that position is doing to your brain. For every inch your head moves forward from neutral, the effective gravitational load on your cervical spine increases by approximately 10 pounds. A head that weighs 10 pounds in neutral effectively weighs 30 pounds when held 2 inches forward. The structures that bear this load include not just your muscles and vertebrae, but your vertebral arteries. These paired blood vessels run through your cervical vertebrae and supply approximately 20% of your brain's total blood flow. When your head is chronically forward, these arteries are chronically compressed. Blood flow through them is reduced. The brainstem, cerebellum, and occipital cortex receive chronically reduced blood flow. Research published in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science has quantified this effect, finding measurable reductions in vertebral artery blood flow velocity. Research connecting reduced cerebral blood flow to cognitive performance is among the most robust in all of aging neuroscience. But forward head posture is only half of the story. The second half involves something even more invisible, your breathing pattern. Specifically, the chronic shallow chest breathing that most adults over 50 have adopted without ever noticing. This breathing pattern affects the chemical environment of your brain tissue, independently of oxygen delivery. By the end of this video, you will understand both mechanisms and have a 3-minute daily protocol to restore brain oxygenation. Something you can do sitting in your chair right now that research supports for improving cognitive function. The changes produce effects within minutes, and the long-term benefits compound with every day of consistent practice. This is the most immediately actionable video in this series. Let's get started. Let's start with the anatomy. Because understanding the specific vascular pathways affected by forward head posture makes the cognitive consequences completely logical. Your brain receives its blood supply through 2 pairs of arteries. The carotid arteries run along the front of the neck. They supply the frontal, temporal, and parietal lobes, including the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, and the vertebral arteries, which run through the foramina of the cervical vertebrae and supply the brainstem and cerebellum. The vertebral arteries are uniquely vulnerable to postural compression. Unlike the carotid arteries, they pass through bony channels in the cervical vertebrae. When the cervical spine is in optimal neutral alignment, these channels are open and blood flow is unimpeded. When the cervical spine is chronically flexed forward, the bony channels are mechanically altered, reducing vertebral artery diameter and increasing resistance. A study found that forward head posture produced measurable reductions in blood flow velocity in a significant proportion of subjects tested. In subjects with significant forward head posture, vertebral artery blood flow was reduced by 20 to 30% compared to neutral head position, 20 to 30% reduction in blood flow to a significant portion of the brain, from posture alone. The brainstem contains the reticular activating system, the neural network responsible for arousal, attention, and conscious wakefulness. Reduced flow produces symptoms like reduced alertness, attentional difficulties, and the mental cloudiness that many adults describe as their chronic baseline. The cerebellum contributes to cognitive processing speed, language function, working memory, and even emotional regulation through connections with the prefrontal cortex. Reduced blood flow from postural compression is therefore not just a balance issue. It is a cognitive processing issue. The posterior temporal lobes are critical for sensory integration, language comprehension, and the formation of semantic memories. Reduced flow in these regions contributes to word retrieval difficulties and semantic memory problems common in adults over 50. The anatomy and symptom pattern match precisely. Correcting the posture has been shown to produce measurable improvements in these cognitive functions. Now, let's talk about the second mechanism, because it is equally important and almost completely overlooked. Most adults over 50 are chronic, shallow breathers, not because of any specific lung disease, but because of the accumulated effects of decades of stress, sedentary behavior, and the postural changes that alter the mechanical efficiency of the diaphragm. When the head moves forward and the upper back rounds, the diaphragm, the primary breathing muscle, is mechanically compromised. Its optimal movement requires the thorax to be in a relatively upright, open position. Forward head posture and thoracic kyphosis reduce diaphragm excursion and make full diaphragmatic breathing mechanically more difficult. The body compensates by shifting breathing work to the accessory breathing muscles, the scalens, sternocleidomastoids, and upper trapezius. This shift from diaphragmatic to chest breathing has profound neurochemical consequences, requiring an understanding of carbon dioxide in the brain. Most people assume that breathing more, faster, and deeper always delivers more oxygen to the brain. This is incorrect. The delivery of oxygen from hemoglobin to brain tissue is regulated by the Bohr effect, which depends on the concentration of carbon dioxide. When CO2 is adequate, hemoglobin releases oxygen efficiently. When CO2 is too low, hemoglobin holds onto oxygen too tightly. Chronic, shallow overbreathing lowers arterial carbon dioxide below optimal levels. In response, cerebral arteries constrict. Less blood reaches the brain. This is the paradox. You are inhaling more air than you need, and simultaneously delivering less oxygen to your brain tissue. Research has shown that adults who habitually overbreathe have measurably reduced cerebral blood flow compared to those with optimal breathing patterns. When taught to restore optimal breathing mechanics, cerebral blood flow increases measurably within minutes. This 3-minute protocol produces cognitive effects almost immediately by restoring the chemical conditions for optimal cerebral blood flow in real time. Over years, chronic mild reduction in cerebral perfusion contributes to white matter damage and neuronal energy deficits. This mechanism is additive to arterial stiffness, making proper breathing essential for long-term cognitive health. Now, let's connect the two mechanisms, postural vascular compression and breathing-mediated cerebral vasoconstriction, to the specific cognitive symptoms they produce, because recognition is the first step toward correction. The first and most immediately recognizable symptom is morning cognitive fog that improves with upright activity. Many adults with significant forward head posture notice that their cognitive clarity is worst in the morning when they have been lying in positions that partially compromise vertebral artery flow, and improves after they have been upright and moving for an hour or two. This is the postural vascular mechanism manifesting most clearly. Cognitive function tracking with cerebral blood flow as posture changes throughout the morning. The second symptom is cognitive deterioration during prolonged sitting, specifically during screen use. The forward head posture adopted during computer and phone use progressively compresses vertebral arteries over time. After 30 to 60 minutes of uninterrupted screen use and forward head position, cerebral blood flow has been reduced for that entire period. The cognitive fatigue and reduced concentration that many people experience after prolonged computer work is substantially attributable to this progressive vascular compromise. The third symptom is the anxiety breathing cycle. Shallow chest breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system. This triggers the stress response that elevates cortisol, increases heart rate, and maintains a state of physiological alert. The sympathetic activation from dysfunctional breathing produces anxiety-like physiological states that impair the prefrontal cortex function. Many adults who experience what they describe as chronic low-level anxiety are partly experiencing the neurophysiological consequences of chronic dysfunctional breathing. The fourth symptom is poor exercise recovery and exercise-induced headaches. When breathing mechanics are compromised, oxygen delivery efficiency is reduced. The cerebral vasoconstrictive effect of overbreathing during exercise can produce headaches that most people attribute to dehydration, but are driven by breathing pattern. The fifth symptom is sleep quality degradation. Forward head posture during sleep contributes to snoring and mild upper airway obstruction. The reduced cerebral blood flow during sleep also impairs glymphatic function, connecting postural issues directly to amyloid accumulation risk. Recognizing these symptoms is key to connecting postural issues to your long-term cognitive health and the sleep protocols we address later. Now let's get to the protocol, because this is the most immediately actionable video in this series. The interventions we're going to describe produce measurable effects within minutes of implementation. Research supports structural and vascular improvements over 4 to 8 weeks. The 3-minute daily reset has two components, a 90-second postural reset and a 90-second breathing reset. They are designed to be done together. The postural reset, 90 seconds. Stand or sit with your back against a wall. Feel the back of your head touch the wall. Step 1, chin tuck. Slide your head directly backward, as if making a double chin. This decompresses the cervical vertebrae and opens artery channels. Repeat 5 times. Research found that consistent chin tucks over 4 weeks produce significant improvements in forward head posture and blood flow parameters. Step 2, thoracic extension. Clasp your hands behind your head. Gently extend your upper back backward, opening the chest and reversing thoracic flexion. This movement restores the thoracic extension that optimizes diaphragm mechanics, directly improving breathing efficiency. Repeat 3 times, holding for 10 seconds. Step 3, shoulder blade retraction. Pull your shoulder blades together and down. This activates the trapezius muscles that maintain optimal head position. The breathing reset, 90 seconds. The goal is to restore diaphragmatic mechanics and normalize arterial carbon dioxide, producing immediate cerebral vasodilation. Step 1, diaphragmatic breathing awareness. Place one hand on your chest and one on your abdomen. Ensure the abdominal hand rises with each inhalation. Step 2, extended exhalation. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6 to 8 counts. This allows arterial CO2 to normalize, increasing cerebral blood flow. Perform this for 90 seconds. Many find that mental fog noticeably reduces by the time they complete the cycle. Step 3, nasal breathing commitment. Nasal breathing warms air for better exchange and produces nitric oxide, which promotes pulmonary vasodilation. Mouth taping during sleep has research support for improving sleep quality and overnight cerebral oxygenation. It is a highly impactful sleep intervention. Screen setup optimization. Raising your screen to eye level eliminates the primary mechanical driver of forward head posture during work. Movement breaks. Taking a 2-minute movement break every 30 minutes of sitting maintains cerebral blood flow better than a single daily exercise session. This 3-minute investment foundationally maintains cerebral blood flow and prevents the vascular compromise of prolonged sitting. Start your reset today. 19 videos, 19 mechanisms, and with posture and breathing, we have added something to the protocol that is fundamentally different from everything before it. Every previous mechanism we've addressed, BDNF, magnesium, liver detoxification, CoQ10, sleep, and gut health, involve biological processes that operate on timescales of weeks. Posture and breathing are different. They produce measurable cognitive effects within minutes. Cerebral vasodilation is measurable on fMRI within 3 to 5 minutes. Improved vertebral artery flow from corrected head position is measurable within seconds. This demonstrates the direct physical connection between your body and brain. Your brain is a highly vascular organ, critically dependent on blood flow. Posture and breathing ensure that blood can actually get there in adequate volume. Connect this to arterial health. Reduced stiffness means better blood pressure transmission, but only if the vertebral arteries are not compressed by forward head posture. Glymphatic function requires cerebral blood flow during sleep. Optimal head position during sleep keeps vertebral arteries uncompressed, supporting glymphatic efficiency. Hydration maintains blood viscosity, but thin blood cannot reach the brain if channels are compressed. Chronic neck tension also produces local inflammatory signaling. Correcting posture adds an anti-inflammatory benefit. 19 mechanisms, all interconnected. Here's what I want you to do right now. The 3-minute reset. Sit up straight. Touch the back of your head to an imaginary wall. Do 5 chin tucks and 3 thoracic extensions. Now do 10 diaphragmatic breaths, 4 counts in, 6 to 8 counts out. Nasal breathing throughout. Notice your mental state change. That is the Bohr effect restoring oxygen delivery to your neurons. Imagine doing that every morning and afternoon when you notice cognitive deterioration. Your action plan? 3-minute reset every morning after electrolytes. 30 seconds each of chin tucks, thoracic extensions, and shoulder retractions. Set a 30-minute movement break reminder. Order a laptop stand to prevent compression. Experiment with nasal breathing during your daily walk. Coming up next week, telomere length. We will discuss the lifestyle factors that accelerate aging and the interventions that slow it down. Subscribe now and share this with someone over 50. Thank you for 19 videos. Sit up straight, breathe deep, stay vital.